Liverpool's new game plan is evil. And when I say evil, I mean terrifying.
With the British record signing of Isak, Liverpool's transformation into the Premier League's Galacticos is now complete.
Arne Slot is not just planning to win, he is planning domination, backed by a staggering £446.5 million transfer window. Yes, you heard that right. The single biggest spend in Premier League history, even surpassing Chelsea's infamous £434.5 million spree in 2023. But don't think this is just about throwing money around. The plan started with improving what was already strong under Jurgen Klopp, and the results have been nothing short of monstrous. In his first 4 months, Slot had Liverpool winning 15 of 17 games across all competitions, top of the Premier League by 5 points, flawless in the new Champions League phase, with 4 wins out of 4 and through to the EFL Cup quarters. The only blemish? A shock 1-0 defeat at home to Nottingham Forest. But even that felt like a footnote in a storm of victories. By the end of his debut season, Slot had delivered the Premier League title, not just winning it, but breaking records along the way.
Unbreakable, unstoppable, unshakable. Arne Slot's Liverpool have reached the promised land with 4 games.
A 71.4% win rate, the highest ever for a Liverpool manager in the Premier League. The most victories in his first 50 games with 36. And he became only the 5th manager in history to win the league in his very first season. Step 1 was complete. He proved Liverpool could evolve beyond Klopp without missing a beat. Step 2, protecting the pillars of the squad. And Slot did just that. Mohamed Salah looked destined to leave.
Think positive because, as you know, this is my last year in the club.
But Slot convinced him to stay.
Yeah, it's a lot of if, but at this moment he's one of ours, and I'm really happy with him being one of ours, and he plays really well.
Anchoring a core of Alisson Becker, Virgil van Dijk, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gakpo and Salah. That backbone carried them to the league title, but Slot was never satisfied with just one step. Because even in that glorious first year, Liverpool had scars, eliminated from the Champions League, and no domestic cups to their name. The mission became crystal clear, not just to win, but to build a dynasty, to dominate England and Europe. And so the £446.5 million master plan was unleashed, a transfer strategy that reads like pure chess genius. Jeremy Frimpong, the electric fullback. Milos Kerkez, the rising defensive star. Giovanni Leone, youth with steel. Hugo Ekitike, a forward of frightening potential.
Put them further clear. Ekitike's there and does!
Florian Wirtz, the German wonder kid playmaker. And Alexander Isak, the most expensive striker in Premier League history.
They've had a lot of joy down this side.
Guimaraes. Isak!
Every piece carefully chosen, every signing designed to turn Liverpool into a machine of control and chaos. This is not random spending. This is Slot engineering a super team with precision and ruthlessness. Liverpool want dominance like the 1970s and 80s when they ruled English football. They want to mirror Real Madrid's modern empire in Europe. And make no mistake, the whole continent is trembling. Because this is not a rebuild, it's an empire in the making. Slot is just the 5th head coach to win the Premier League in his debut season, joining Mourinho, Ancelotti, Conte and Pellegrini in an elite club. The Dutchman's calm mentality and sharp tactics transform Liverpool into a ruthless machine, building on Klopp's foundations but sharpening them with precision. Let's take a closer look at how his approach got the Reds over the line. The most obvious change from Klopp's Liverpool was Slot's shift from the traditional 4-3-3 into a more compact 4-2-3-1. The double pivot of Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister became the spine of this new structure, protecting the centre and breaking opposition rhythm. Gravenberch enjoyed his best season in England, leading all Premier League midfielders with 57 interceptions, ahead of Caicedo with 47 and Nørgaard with 42 interceptions. That number underlines his positional discipline and ability to cut out dangerous passes before they developed. Alongside him, McAllister was the aggressor, winning tackles and pressing high when needed. Only 3 midfielders across the league recorded more tackles than him, finishing with 95 tackles, behind only Guai with 123, Caicedo with 100 tackles, and João Gomes with 99. When you add Liverpool's 57.9% possession rate, these numbers are even more impressive. They're breaking up transitions despite spending most of their time on the ball. This pivot not only screens the defence, but also provides a launch pad for Liverpool's attacking game. Slot also adjusted Trent Alexander-Arnold's role role. Instead of drifting permanently into midfielders under Klopp, Slot asked him to operate more as a traditional right-back, choosing moments to invert. This reduced the gaps down Liverpool's right flank, which opponents had targeted repeatedly last season. Less rotation, more compactness, and suddenly the central areas became harder to break through. The result of these tweaks, combined with strong seasons from Van Dijk and Konate, has been a much more solid defensive framework. The numbers confirm it. Under Klopp in 23/24, Liverpool conceded 1.1 goals per game. Under Slot, that dropped to 0.9. Their expected goals against fell from 1.2 to 0.9, a reduction of over 16%. They now face fewer shots per 90, fewer on target, and even fewer big chances. Even goalkeeper involvement tells the story, from 2.9 saves per 90 under Klopp down to just 2.5 under Slot, not because Alisson declined, but because he simply had less to do. In short, Liverpool are conceding fewer, allowing less and controlling more. Slot took Klopp's chaotic energy and replaced it with cold efficiency, creating a team that smothers transitions and punishes mistakes. One of the most striking changes under Arne Slot has been in the way Liverpool build their attacks. Where Klopp's side thrived on chaos and lightning transitions, Slot has brought calm, balance, and patience into possession. Liverpool no longer rush every move at breakneck speed. Instead, their attacks are measured, designed to progress in controlled waves rather than frantic bursts. That doesn't mean they keep the ball for the sake of it. In fact, they now produce fewer long passing sequences, just 14.3 per 90 minutes compared to 17.6 under Klopp. The difference is that these shorter spells of possession are far more purposeful, aimed at prizing open defences without leaving themselves exposed. The numbers tell the story. Liverpool now create slightly more build-up attacks per match, rising from 3.89 to 3.94, a small step in volume but a big leap in efficiency, because those attacks are yielding more goals. Klopp's Reds scored only 6 build-up goals last season. Under Slot, it's already 9. That equates to 0.28 goals per 90 from build-up, almost double the 0.16 they managed in 23/24. This improvement has been vital against low-block opponents, the very type of sides that frustrated Klopp's team by shutting down space in behind. Slot's Liverpool now pull these teams apart with controlled possession, moving the ball side to side until the gaps finally open. And when the gaps appear, the midfield has the rhythm to exploit them without losing balance behind the ball. Another telling stat is the tempo of their attacks. Under Klopp, the average speed of direct build-up was 1.93 metres per second. Slot has slowed this down to 1.73. That subtle drop reflects a shift in mentality, less rush, more control, fewer wild counters conceded when possession is lost. It's football that feels less chaotic but more dangerous because every move is built on stability. The midfield is now the brain of Liverpool, dictating not only how quickly they attack, but how safely they recycle when chances are not immediate. This measured approach has allowed them to control matches with a maturity that Klopp's high-octane football sometimes lacked. For Slot, possession is not about racking up passes, it's about building trust in the structure. And with every carefully constructed move that turns into a goal, Liverpool look like a side capable of dismantling even the deepest defensive blocks. Liverpool were already a dangerous counter-attacking side under Klopp, but Slot has elevated them to another level entirely. The Reds last season had become the kings of fast breaks, recording 65 shots from counters, 20 more than Chelsea, and well clear of Newcastle. And crucially, they turned those breaks into 14 goals, the highest in the league, showcasing their ruthless edge in transition. Mohamed Salah has been the spearhead of this menace, with 25 shots from fast breaks, 10 more than any other player. Luis Diaz had also thrived in this chaos, with 11 attempts of his own, making Liverpool lethal whenever they spring forward. A big part of this had been the role of a floating number 10, with Dominik Szoboszlai linking midfield to attack, threading the passes that ignite Salah and Diaz at full tilt. The transformation is clear when comparing seasons. Under Klopp in 23/24, Liverpool had 38 shots from fast breaks and scored just 6 goals. This year under Slot, they've produced 56 fast break shots and 13 goals, with a higher conversion rate of 13.75% compared to Klopp's 10.8%. Overall, Liverpool's attack has grown sharper. Goals per 90 minutes climbed from 2.1 to 2.4, while big chances created rose from 2.9 to 4.0 per game. Yes, the big chance conversion rate dipped slightly from 45% to 39%, but the sheer increase in volume has more than compensated. Liverpool no longer just rely on chaos. They now manufacture chances with control and still punish teams brutally in open space. Where Slot's impact has been most visible is in the finishing of his front line. Salah has seen his conversion skyrocket from 15.8% to 23.3%, rediscovering the killer instinct that defines legends.
I was very honest with him. I told him, like, with me, you're gonna win the Premier League, but I have to feel really comfortable with it, with the way we play.
Cody Gakpo had risen from 12.1% to 18%, and Luis Diaz from 8.5% to an impressive 18.5%, his best in his time at Anfield. Even Darwin Núñez, long criticised for wastefulness, had improved from 10.2% to 15.6%. The only step back had been Diogo Jota, whose numbers dropped from 24.4% to 13%. But the collective gain from the rest of the attack had been monumental last season. It is no coincidence Slot's calmer, more structured approach in possession has given these forwards cleaner, higher quality chances. Perhaps the most underrated evolution is Liverpool's ability to manage games. They had scored first in 23 matches, winning 21 of them, drawing once and losing just once. Liverpool, under Slot, have become masters of composure once they go ahead. Yet, the Reds are not just front-runners. When conceding first, they had still collected 1.5 points per game, the best in the league. Only once did they lose after falling behind early in the season against Forest. In every other instance, Slot's calm touch and Liverpool's resilience helped them recover without panic, keeping faith in their structure. If matches were decided only by second-half goals, Liverpool would be champions by a landslide. They sit atop the second-half table with 23 wins, 9 draws and only 2 defeats, amassing 78 points. That's a staggering 19 points more than Manchester City, proof of how Slot's adjustments and substitutions tilt games in their favour late on. Opponents tire, spaces open, and Liverpool turn the screw, an unstoppable wave that keeps rolling until the final whistle. In the end, Slot didn't need to rip up Klopp's Liverpool, he only needed to refine it. By adding patience in possession, control in transitions and composure in finishing, he turned a great team into a dominant one. As Mourinho once said, football heritage matters, and Slot inherited a culture of belief and relentlessness from Klopp. But what he has built is something even more formidable, a side that has now scored in 37 consecutive Premier League matches, breaking Klopp's record. There has never been a bigger glow-up in the history of Liverpool, and maybe in the entire Premier League, than the one engineered by Arne Slot. Think about it. Darwin Núñez, once billed as the future, left Anfield after a modest return of 7 goals and 7 assists to join Al Hilal. And how did Slot respond? By pulling off the boldest move of the era, signing Alexander Isak, one of the deadliest strikers in England. Isak arrived fresh from a 23-goal, 6-assist Premier League season at the perfect age of 25 years old, the exact same age Mohamed Salah was when he joined Liverpool.
So I think just me getting the chance to be a part of this, and I want to create history. I want to win trophies, and that's ultimately the biggest motivation for me. And I feel like this is a perfect place for me to grow even further and to take my game to the next level and help the team as well.
Not bad, right? The most expensive signing in Premier League history, but one that screams ambition and timing. But that was only the beginning. Luis Diaz, who had been one of Liverpool's brightest sparks, with 17 goals and 8 assists last season, shocked fans by leaving for Bayern Munich. Slot replaced him with a superstar rising out of the Bundesliga, Hugo Ekitike. The French forward delivered 22 goals and 12 assists last year, and has already scored 3 goals in 4 official matches for Liverpool. Ironically, that's the same number of goals Diaz has managed so far in Munich. Talk about instant impact. And then came the most emotional departure. Trent Alexander-Arnold, the Scouser in the team, chose to test himself at Real Madrid, only to find himself stuck on the bench at the Bernabeu. Liverpool, meanwhile, brought in the Bundesliga's most electric right-back, Jeremy Frimpong, a player whose pace and power add a whole new dimension to Slot's side. Stack on top of these moves the additions of Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez and Giovanni Leoni. And what you have is not just a rebuild, but a super team. Each signing was a surgical strike to fix weaknesses from last season, transforming Liverpool from strong contenders into a terrifying, complete package. This is evolution at lightning speed.
In that role, and I want to go back to the people speak about Liverpool's way of doing things. you can't underestimate how important Jurgen Klopp was in getting players to come. So we talk about the transfer committee and they did this, they did that. What Liverpool are brilliant at is bringing transfer fees in.
And at the heart of it all is the crown jewel of Slot's plan, the man brought in to define a new era. Let's break down exactly what makes Alexander Isak the most frightening striker Liverpool could have dreamed of. Isak is an elite signing, of that there is no doubt. Last 2 seasons, only Erling Haaland with 49 goals and Mohamed Salah with 47 have scored more goals than him, with 44 goals in that stretch, and in 6 fewer matches than Salah. Isak arrives at Anfield already proven as one of the league's deadliest forwards. He is ruthless, a finisher who doesn't just feed on tap-ins, he scores half chances, impossible angles, and shows up in the biggest matches. Last season, his non-penalty shot conversion rate stood at an astonishing 26.4% from 95 shots. That's better than Haaland's 21.6% and Salah's 21.1%, underlining just how clinical he has become. And he did it against the toughest opponents. Goals against Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Villa and Forest. All of the top 7 bar Manchester City. In short, Isak doesn't just pad stats against weaker sides, he decides matches at the highest level. Slot has not just bought a striker, he's bought certainty, an extra layer of inevitability for a Liverpool team already terrifying in attack. But here's the catch. Isak's arrival papers over cracks that Liverpool have yet to fix elsewhere. Their most significant deadline day headline could easily have been the collapse of the Mark Guehi deal, leaving the Reds with just 3 senior centre-backs until January. Already this season, Bournemouth and Newcastle have sliced through Liverpool on the counter, exposing how expansive the team looks, with Florian Wirtz pulling strings at the tip of midfield. In both games, they conceded late goals on the break, showing that while the attack has more firepower than ever, the balance isn't perfect. And the numbers back this up. Liverpool's midfield defensive output has dropped alarmingly compared to last year. In 2024/25, the Reds averaged 16.9 tackles and 7.9 interceptions per 90 minutes. This season, those numbers have fallen to 13.3 tackles and just 3.7 interceptions per 90, less than half their previous rate, and the lowest interception figure in the entire Premier League. Even fouls a sign of breaking up play under pressure have dipped from 11.3 to 9.7 per game, suggesting opponents are facing fewer obstacles when running through midfield. The eye test confirms it. The Reds look easier to bypass, their press less synchronised, and their midfield block less aggressive. A secondary concern for Liverpool has been the fullback setup. Trent Alexander-Arnold once tucked into midfield to help stabilise the counter-press. But with Jeremy Frimpong overlapping high and wide, the Reds have looked far more exposed. On the other flank, Milos Kerkez has also struggled to adapt. His early season form was summed up when Bruno Guimaraes beat him too easily in the build-up to Newcastle's opener. Together, the Kerkez-Frimpong combination has left Liverpool's backline open in wide areas. The numbers paint a clear picture. Last season, Liverpool faced just 13.2 crosses per game, ranking 19th in the Premier League. Now that figure has ballooned to 20.7 crosses per game, the 5th highest in the league. And it's not just volume, it's effectiveness. In 2024/25, opponents completed only 1.29 crosses per 90 against Liverpool. This season, that number has more than doubled to 3.0 completed crosses per 90, ranking 4th worst in the division. For a team looking to challenge on all fronts, that is a worrying regression. And yet, Isak might be the equaliser. His goals combined with the firepower of Salah, Wirtz and Ekitike could allow Liverpool to outscore anyone, even if their defensive shape isn't perfect. Slot knows he has decisions to make, how to fit all his attackers together without unbalancing the system. Isak isn't moving wide, he's too efficient through the middle. Ekitike, who played only 9 senior games as a left winger before Liverpool, may need to be retrained. Alternatively, he could slot in behind Isak as a shadow striker, a role he often shared with Omar Marmoush at Frankfurt. Cody Gakpo, who has already been trusted on the left, might continue there, while Ekitike offers depth across multiple positions. Slot has precedent for rotation. Last year, Diaz, Gakpo, Jota and Nunez all rotated heavily around Salah, ensuring Liverpool's attack always stayed fresh. This year, Ekitike, Isak and Gakpo will share minutes in a similar way, particularly with Salah, set to miss a crucial month in December and January for the Africa Cup of Nations. Liverpool's squad is built to sustain goals from every angle, whether from starters or impact players off the bench. It isn't as simple as saying add Isak and Liverpool are guaranteed the title. But when you combine his elite, finishing with Slot's tactical recalibration in midfield, and an attack deeper than any rival in the league, the Reds look primed to defend their crown. We need to talk about Slot's master plan. Isak, Wirtz and Szoboszlai. Arne Slot has not just built a team, he has designed a blueprint for domination. At the heart of it is a triangle that could define Liverpool's future. Alexander Isak up top, Florian Wirtz as the creative spark, and Dominik Szoboszlai as the dynamic link. Isak gives Liverpool the ruthless edge they sometimes lacked last season. He thrives on service into space, but unlike Darwin Núñez, he doesn't need 4 or 5 chances to find the net. One good ball, one sharp movement, and it's over. That's where Wirtz enters the picture. The German playmaker is Liverpool's lockpicker, capable of sliding passes between defensive lines or carrying the ball through midfield pressure. His vision creates the half chances Isak turns into goals. Szoboszlai completes the puzzle. Operating as a floating number 10, he is the bridge between transitions and settled attacks, pressing high to win the ball and instantly releasing Salah or Isak with vertical passes. His energy means Liverpool never lose tempo, even when teams sit deep. Slot's masterstroke is the balance between chaos and control. Wirtz provides calm incision, Szoboszlai adds intensity, and Isak guarantees the finish. Together they make Liverpool unpredictable. They can score through patient build-up, punishing counters, or sheer individual brilliance. The conclusion, Slot's evil revolution. When Klopp left, many feared Liverpool would lose their identity. Instead, Arne Slot has sharpened it into something even more terrifying. Yes, there are defensive frailties, too many crosses conceded, midfield interceptions falling, fullbacks still adapting. But this is part of Slot's gamble. Embrace vulnerability at the back to unleash overwhelming force in attack. With Isak, Wirtz, Szoboszlai and Salah, Liverpool have the firepower to bury opponents before weaknesses can be exploited. This is not evolution, it is controlled chaos. A plan worth £446.5 million, executed with surgical precision. And make no mistake, Liverpool aren't just trying to defend their crown. They're building a dynasty, a team designed not just to win, but to dominate England and Europe for years to come. The Premier League has been warned Arne Slot's master plan is here and it's evil.